Here is another reason why we need reliable news. Misinformation is rampant in our world, and some of it comes from state actors. Let me give you the latest example. And this is a shocking revelation. It's about what the US did during the pandemic. The Americans ran a secret campaign in the Philippines. They created fake social media accounts and they amplified misinformation against face masks and vaccines. It was a coordinated campaign. The US military was behind it. The aim was to discredit Chinese supplies, but in the process, the Americans ended up putting a lot of lives in danger. Our next report has more details.
Just like the rest of the world, the Philippines was hit hard by the pandemic. Its people endured one of the world's longest lockdowns and the loss of countless lives. While the health workers were waging a tough fight against an invisible enemy, another silent threat was rearing its head. On social media, posts like these began to pop up. It says, China is the virus, COVID came from China, and the vaccine came from China. The post dates back to July 2020. There were more like these. At least 300 accounts were sharing more disinformation about China's pandemic supplies. The US military was running these accounts. They were a part of a clandestine operation. It began during the presidency of Donald Trump in 2020. His successor Joe Biden extended it till spring 2021. The operation was designed as a psychological campaign. It purely aimed at discrediting the supply of face masks, testing kits and vaccines from China. Here's how it was executed. The operation was planned at the Pentagon, the headquarters of the US Department of Defense. The US Military Psychological Operations Center in Florida's Tampa executed it. It's unclear if the American campaign was effective, but there's no doubt it was dangerous. There was a high degree of vaccine hesitancy in the Philippines. People didn't trust the shots. They refused to go to vaccination centers. Frustrated by the slow progress, the then President Rodrigo Duterte resorted to issuing threats.
You choose vaccine or I will have you jailed. You get vaccinated, otherwise I will order all the village heads to have a tally of all the people who refuse to get vaccinated. Because if not, I will inject them with ivermectin, which is intended for pigs.
It wasn't just the Philippines. The disinformation campaign had a wide-ranging mandate. The US military was authorized to target the Chinese social media in a similar fashion. A series of fake accounts were created to influence public opinion against the Chinese government. The American military expanded their psyop against the Chinese in West Asia and Central Asia as well. In one instance, they targeted the Muslims in these regions by pushing this theory. China's Sinovac shot was made with pork gelatin, and taking it could be considered haram or forbidden under Islamic law. Ultimately, the Chinese vaccines were proven to be ineffective. But America's campaign has given fresh ammo to Beijing.
We have noted the relevant reports. Facts have repeatedly proven that the US has been manipulating social media to spread false information, influencing public opinion to smear the image of other countries. This is a consistent practice by the US, and China is firmly opposed to it.
Despite this, the US remains defiant. Reports say the Pentagon has no plans to end its propaganda efforts. In fact, it plans to double down.